Okay, so I know that recently it became extremely popular to just completely dunk on Ashes of Creation, but I have to say, I've seen so many people still defending this game, and it actually caught me by surprise because I thought for myself, surely, by this point, most people would have realized that they are getting the rug pulled from under them. But I guess the recent Steam Early Access shenanigans didn't change much. So today, I'm going to be reacting to a review made by Canon, a guy which videos I usually really like, that apparently was so light on the criticism that Steven himself have commented on it. And we know for a fact, Steven never comment on criticism, on valid criticism as well, and he only comment on things he find enjoyable. So only light criticism and just, praises. That's all he comments about. He never responds to valid thoughts about the game, like the bad stuff, obviously, not the good parts. He never listens, and he only cherry picks which reviews he's going to just check out. Now, watch the first minute, and I want to continue watching the rest with you guys and give you my genuine first impression, because I truly am trying to understand the people who are defending this, because by this point, clearly, this game is doing a lot of shady stuff. It's not a scam. I think it will release, but it's not going to be good.
Ashes of Creation, one of the most polarizing MMOs right now, just had its early access launch on Steam. And after about 40 hours or so of gameplay,
40 hours?
I'm ready to share my thoughts
I bet
on the
he's
game.
level
Real
3
quick
by
though,
now,
if you're
at
into
least.
MMOs, be sure to sub to the channel and follow me on my main platform, Twitch. I'm streaming MMO content daily over there. Also, be sure to drop a like on the video. It really does help push the algo. Okay, so back to the main point of the video. Let's start with some surface level information first. Despite the early access launch label, Ashes is in, I believe it's 9th or so year of development,
and is still boys.
in.
Surely just a couple of more years to go and it will be ready. Believe me, boys. Believe me. It's coming.
It's alpha testing
Trust
phase.
me.
The game can be purchased for around $50 on Steam, which
it's so crazy. I honestly look at this price tag and I have absolutely no idea which buffoon will ever defend this. Like, this is crazy. You pay 50 G's to be a beta tester, an alpha tester, not even a beta tester, an alpha tester. That is insanity to me. To ask for this much money to test a game, something that you usually pay someone to do. You ask for money, and people are still willing to defend this. This is straight up malpractice. Like, what in God's name is that? It is so scummy. Like, holy, I have absolutely no idea who in their right mind will defend this. And I don't care that they tell you, oh, it's alpha, they're being transparent. I don't care. It's dumb to even say that. To even put this offer on the table is disgusting. It is so insulting to even do that. It's like someone would literally sell you a heaping pile of garbage. And it, like, oh, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it, Chief. The fact that you even put it in front of me is revolting. It makes me want to hurl. Oh my god, it's so annoying.
Gets you full access to the game and your first 30 days of sub time when the game eventually releases.
Yeah.
Ashes is a sub-to-play game, by the way, when it does officially launch. As I'm sure you can imagine, a huge point of contention is not only the sales and pricing of this game, but also the amount of time it's been under development.
Yeah.
For me, the whole how long has it taken them to get to this point stuff doesn't really bother me as much as it does others, considering
it should. It 100% should, because it's been too long a development. People have paid for the Kickstarter like almost 10 years ago by this point, or even 10 years ago by this point. But yeah, they want to bang for their buck. I mean, they were promised a game, I think it was 2018 for the initial release date, just, to show you how long we've come, and not in a good way. And I mean, look at where we are now, brother. We're almost at 2026, and this game is not even remotely close to being released. That is insane. He needs to actually give those people their money back, in my opinion. But it's a Kickstarter. If you invested in it, I think you're stupid in the first place. But, it is what it is.
My view on the matter is that this is a game started by one guy, an MMO gamer.
One guy and like $6 million. Yeah, sure. Like that he got from Kickstarter. He had way more money before that.
With a lot of money.
And I'm not gonna go into how he got that money because I know this is like some uncharted waters territory, and many people do not like the fact that he got it from I forgot the name. It had like a specific name. He did it like selling things online. You know, people call it like magical juice or something. I don't want to get into it because I'm not that well versed in it. But yeah, a lot of people don't appreciate how he got money in the first place because it just goes to show you that he's a professional scammer. That's what people think, right?
Money with zero experience in actually building one.
You can check this for yourself.
Even running a video game company that decided he was going to make his own game, frustrated by what was out there. It went from being a Kickstarter game to the game we have today, a game largely funded by the owner Steven himself.
What
which
game?
I've heard.
Brother, what game? You're not playing a game, you're playing a simulation. There's nothing. You go around, you just shoot a couple of ravens, you raid one caravan, and that's it. You can't even level up properly. Everyone stacks in the same zone. The abilities are garbage. Nothing is ready. This is not a game. This is a simulation. Like, how can you even call it a game?
Heard he's nearly $100 million in now. Not sure if that's true or not. Along with the money it's raised from its supporters and player base. Considering most MMOs being developed by established, experienced companies with full funding take around 7 to 10 years on average, more or less.
But they are using their own engine. They're not using Unreal Engine 5. You're using an engine that does not belong to you, which have most of the stuff already pre-baked inside. All you need to do is use the assets and obviously change them. You need to use the tools rather than the assets because you don't want things look samey to like other game. Even though it's kind of unavoidable with Unreal Engine because just the nature of the engine being literally the same. But you're not using your own engine. You're not developing your own engine. You're using someone else's. And how does it take you this long to achieve this nothing? Like literally this much. This is all you got using an engine that doesn't even belong to you. That is just baffling to me. I don't know how they managed to pull that off. I've seen single developers doing more with Unreal Engine than Ashes of Creation developers. I genuinely am. Like, go and watch single-person projects, and you'll be surprised. Like, your mind will be blown how much a single person can do in a game. Like, that is crazy. You're telling me that you have a full paid development team, and this is what you achieved in, like, 7 to 10 years? I don't know, 7 to 10 years. Like, in 10 years almost? That's crazy. Like, it doesn't make any sense. What are you doing there? Like, are you working 2 hours daily and that's it?
I personally don't hold Steven to this standard. My buddy Zach...
You should. Well, you should. I mean, okay, I guess you shouldn't put him to the same standard like Blizzard, right? Which is already established company. But if you are opening a video game company, I'm expecting a certain level of, you know, respect to the players and also competency. Because you open a gaming company. It's weird. It's like opening a food stall or a restaurant and then, you know, just giving us shit. It doesn't make sense. I'm expecting good food. I don't care if you're a small vendor or a big one. I want good food, and I'm expecting it when I come into the store. It's the same with MMO and like video games in general. When you're opening a gaming company, I'm not gonna go like, oh, no, he's not like the big guys. He's not a big shot. He's starting, so you'll give me a trash product. No, I'm expecting a good product still. Of course, I'm going to consider the budget and all that stuff. But you got a budget, so what's going wrong?
Told me he was going to make his own MMO. I would expect his game to take a longer time to develop, and I would 100%
longer than 10 years. What are you on about? He's using an Unreal Engine. He doesn't use his own engine. Making your own engine is what takes up most of the time developing. But you are using Unreal Engine. You know how much time and money this saves you? Like, if you know anything about developing a product, a video game especially, if you use Unreal Engine, you literally take all the bad stuff from doing it. You just use the tools that the engine offers you, and that's it. Like, how can you even screw this one up?
Expect him to learn along the way, making mistakes and changing things around during the process. This is really how I view the Ashes project, a single individual that decided to make his own game and is figuring it out along the way.
What? Do you think he's solo developing the game? What do you mean a single individual? He's not even developing the product. He is literally like the creative director. He's not doing any of the coding, as far as I know. But like, what is this claim? It's so weird. He's talking like Steven is building this game on his own. He has a full crew, which he pays money for. Like, this game should be out by now. What are you on about?
Being in the 9th year of development, considering this doesn't seem unreasonable to me personally.
Yeah. Dude, it's so clear that he wants to be on good terms with Steven, because I understand where he's coming from, right? He doesn't want to have any bad blood with what could potentially be the next best MMO. I mean, potentially, right? Obviously, it's not going to happen. I think this game is going to flop hard, but, well, you know, that's just me thinking that, and I guess millions of others, but you don't want to be on bad terms with the head director of a game you think might potentially prove very beneficial for you in the future. So I do understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, just brother, like, speak the truth. Speak what you really think. Don't look at things with a light perspective, like the pink sunglasses, right? Like the pink glasses. You want to see the game for what it truly is. And right now, the game offers nothing. Literally nothing at all. It is completely bogus that you would even claim that this game has anything to offer. Also, what the hell? Like, I just now noticed that, doesn't it, like, didn't they take this straight from World of Warcraft? It looks like the dust you get from the dwarfs at Burning Steps. Like, that's crazy. It looks 100% similar, like the same. Okay, but random thought. Regardless, I really think that everyone should say what they really feel about this without thinking about hurting Steven's feelings. Because at the end of the day, you don't own any of the developers a damn thing. You paid for this game. You paid for the access. And if they are going to charge money from you, especially when we're talking about $50, you deserve a good product. And that's why I'm so mad about this early access. Because if they give keys freely, no problem. No problem. You wouldn't hear a goddamn peep from me. Nothing at all. Because they gave it for free and they just want people to test their games. And I think that that is completely fine. If you give out keys for free and you just want people to test your game, I'm down for that. That is completely fine with me. But the moment you ask for such a ludicrous amount of money, I'm expecting a good product. And I don't care if you told me that this is alpha and it's only a test. I don't care. You put a game on Steam, I'm expecting a certain product for the price, of course. Obviously, if it was free, I wouldn't care.
Blizzard's next MMO or Riot's next MMO, I would absolutely hold them to a different standard. Riot's MMO, by the way, was...
But they have the same amount of money, so why are you holding them to like a different standard? At least Blizzard used their own engine. And don't get me wrong, I hate what current Blizzard have become, right? I don't like current modern day Blizzard. But at least they have their own engine. At least Riot have their own engine. Like, what are we talking about? He's using Unreal Engine. He uses an... I don't think people really understand how easy it is to use Unreal Engine 5. And when I say easy, I don't mean like, oh, anyone can do it. Of course not. But you don't get it how costly it is to make your own engine from scratch. It is insanely difficult, and this what takes most of the time. So... like, I don't know. What are they trying to cope here? Like, I truly don't get them.
It was announced in 2020 when Ghostcrawler was in charge. They've obviously scrapped the project completely and are starting anew, but all of that would also mean they are technically in their 5th or so year of development too. Pivots, changes...
Yeah, but they didn't ask you for money. Like, you didn't pay Riot Games. They used all their resources. So who cares? It can take 20 years. They didn't take a dime from you. That's the whole point. People want their money to be worth something. They've invested in something. And for 10 years, all they've seen is obfuscation and lies. So what's gonna come next?
redirects, all of these things are a part of the development process in my eyes. And even if Riot is having to do it,
he's constantly adding, in my opinion and in my eyes. Like, you know, this dude is on our team, but he just don't want to upset Steven. Like, you can tell he agrees with us 100%, but he just don't want to be on Steven's bad side, because Steven easily ban people. We've seen it on the Discord. We've seen it like so many times. And yeah, I mean, you just want to have like good relations with him, which again, I do understand to a certain degree, but brother, please just say what you really think. Also, I just realized that I'm kind of hiding him here. Hopefully that didn't hurt you guys' feelings. Like, there we go. I just moved myself. My bad.
It's surely a guy with zero experience would as well. At the end of the day, I'm on the side of the fence that believes making an MMO is just not fucking easy. I think if there's anything Ashes has shown us, or shown me at least,
yeah,
it's shown just how difficult it really is to make a good MMO.
When you're stupid, yeah. Everything will be difficult. Even opening a can of soda will be difficult if you're that dumb. Like, being difficult doesn't mean that it's difficult for everyone. Clearly, I've said this a year ago, that by this point, it's apparent that the development team of Ashes of Creation have absolutely no idea what they're doing. I've said this 1 year ago. You can go back to my videos about Ashes and check it out for yourself. Like, they have not a damn clue at what to do. They don't know how to make a game, especially an MMO, and it shows.
Also, I think they've shown the pros and cons of open development. I think if Riot's MMO was doing open development in 2020, there'd be a lot more negativity surrounding the game. So let's talk.
But why would they do that? They didn't take any money from you. They don't owe you information. They don't owe you anything. Like, why would they try to be transparent with you? Ashes took so much money from people. They owe us this. And I'm not invested in the game, obviously, right? I'm not that dumb. Like, I was excited for it back in the day, and I thought about maybe investing in it, and then I was like, you know what? So many Kickstarters have failed, like, I'm not going to do it. And thankfully, I did not, because, man, I would have been bummed out by now. But Ashes actually took money from the players, and the players do deserve transparency because they have money invested inside of the game.
Talk about the actual game experience, shall we? My experience with the game starts with their Alpha 2 launch, which was about a year ago. Then I revisited the game during their Phase 3 of Alpha 2, which was around 3 months ago. This gave me a baseline and timeline to compare.
Guys, Alpha 69 is going to solve all the problems. Trust me.
My experiences. The first noticeable improvement was the new player experience. They essentially streamlined the entire experience for a new player in a much easier way to help acclimate newbies to the game and give them some direction. This was something that was
direction to where? To the empty zones? What are you on about? Dude, this game offers nothing. There's nothing you can do inside the game other than the very basics.
Missing in the previous tests, and I gotta give them a huge W for doing this, for improving this.
Oh my god, how have we fallen so far as MMO players that we are commending the most negligible things on planet Earth? Like, how is this a big W? It's like those Blizzard sympathizers that whenever World of Warcraft retail is getting like the most basic of updates ever, like they're removing slightly add-ons, like everyone like, oh my god, this is it, this is the next big thing. Like, no, like, stop praising the most mundane things on the planet. Like, just stop. We need to hold these developers accountable. Those changes needed to be implemented a long time ago. And Ashes offers us nothing but scraps. You should stop trying to cope and say, oh, look, they're progressing. Like, taking a half a step forward is technically progressing. But at which pace? You're supposed to be way further than that. It doesn't make any sense to me. It truly does not.
Giving a brand new player some direction and guidance so they aren't overwhelmed or lost immediately goes a really long way, and I think is mandatory for the first hours, even if you are going for a more older school, less hand-holding type of game, and Ashes has really done a much better job delivering that. This pretty much guides you to around level 9 or so, where players begin to feel the grind. This is one of the areas I think the game needs to work on, because currently you're heavily incentivized to grind mobs in a group for the next 100 plus hours in order to level up and eventually hit level cap. Let me break this down a bit. First off, I think
there's literally nothing to do because the game is just not ready. There's nothing. Like, literally nothing. If you watched gameplay, I watched Asmongold play it because, you know, I love Asmongold, obviously, right? But I watched Asmon play it. Dude, it was sad. Like, it was sad. Even he was super frustrated with the game. And that's what I love about Asmon. Even if he, like, did interviews with Steven and stuff, he doesn't care. Like, he'll still speak his mind. And if you want to watch like his opinions on it, it's way better because you'll get a true perspective on what this game is.
MMO should be grinding. In fact, I think most of the people who say this or that MMO is too grindy really mean the grind is simply boring. If you like vertical...
No, I literally played Black Desert Online, and the combat there is most likely the best I've ever experienced in an MMO, but I can already tell the grind is insane. There's a certain amount of time you're willing to invest in an MMO, especially doing the same thing over and over, and at some point, it gets ridiculous, okay? And you're just getting tired of it, so eventually you'll quit. And so saying that the grind is boring or the grind is fun so I can do this for like decades, no. There should be time limit on how much you grind. Grind is good to a certain degree, but you need to put a time limit on it. It can be forever.
Progression MMOs, you're attracted to the progression of your character and you need and want content in the game that allows you to do so. In other words, you want to grind whether you realize it or not. Grinding becomes a major issue when that grind is boring. When the grind is fun, you want to continue grinding. The mob grinding in Ashes is very challenging, and for what it is, I actually really like the design. You have to respect every single mob, whether you're pulling solo or in a large group. This is a very old school concept that a lot of players really like. I think it's great to allow players to group up and grind for hundreds of hours all the way to level cap, but I feel the game needs to offer more options.
That's a wild take. I don't know if this is like a cope take or not. I think he's so high on like, I don't know, Steven stuff he's talking out of his ass, but goddamn, like even to say that is so bogus. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore the fact that each mob takes a lot of time to kill. I'm a classic World of Warcraft Andy after all. But to say that this is all you need to do until level cap is fun, bro, like, you're capping, okay? This is not the level cap, this is you cap.
When it comes to leveling your characters, if you want the journey to take hundreds of hours, which, by the way, is the case for Ashes. This is one of my bigger concerns with the game. There are alternative ways to level. You can gather and craft, for example, but the vast majority will end up grinding mobs in groups because that's where the game more or less leads you to. If there are
Also, that's crazy that the classes look the way that they are, and I've seen, again, singular developers doing 10 times more than that alone. Like, how can you explain that classes are so trash in this game? I mean, you had all of this time to just combine, like, to make all of these abilities and think how they operate, and this is what you came with? It looks trash. The summoner literally looks like he was pulled from the basic assets of Unreal Engine. What? This is disgusting. Like, this is actually revolting. How this is as far as you've reached. I have absolutely no idea how.
Alternative ways to level as effectively, and I just missed it. Well, it needs to be more apparent then. ARPGs did a fantastic job with leveling, granting players good experience in every...
Didn't ARPGs died? What?
Activity they did. They allowed you to pursue whichever content you wanted to focus on and attached good experience to those systems. I feel like in Ashes, most players will feel like they have to grind mobs after level 10 to hit max. And the fact that it takes you triple-digit hours to...
They have no other option. Of course they have. They won't feel like they have. They literally do.
Do so will ultimately lose a lot of players. Even just more quests that you could do to reach level cap would be a fantastic addition to the game. It would certainly deliver a more classic WoW-like experience option. And, well, that's arguably one of the greatest old-school MMOs to ever exist. I can 100% see that type of quest design work really well in Ashes, by the way, with how challenging the mobs are and how socially driven the game is, which is another positive aspect of Ashes. Due to the nature of no teleports, challenging mobs, party finders, the world in Ashes does feel very socially driven. For example, players going to areas they want to grind in
and die to a Sweatlord PvP enjoyer because they're forced into PvP. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. Imagine how fun it will be to be on a streamer server, even though you did this unintentionally. And then if you don't join the streamer guild, you're just gonna be butchered at every single turn, like, and corner. Because, you know, hey, you're not on the streamer side, son. So die, chap. Yeah, this one's gonna be fun. I'm sure it will work out for the best.
Looking for groups via...
And don't look at the fact that every single PvP-based MMO have died and none of them stood the test of time. Like, don't look at that. It's fine.
Chat. You quite literally have to interact with people if you want to progress your characters, so naturally, player-to-player interactions are very prevalent in the game. Shifting gears now, let's talk about my biggest concern with Ashes, which is the overall performance and mob AI or pathing, especially when it comes to the combat. The combat itself is solid, in my personal opinion.
What?
I think it's one of...
Oh, okay, he said a thing. I was about to, you know, just go a little bit crazy there, but he said, in my personal opinion. Do you notice how after every single thing that he says, it's like, in my opinion, I personally think that, dude, you clearly think that the combat is trash and the game sucks, but you just don't want to admit it. It's so funny to me to see it from like the sideline and just, you know, realize what you're really trying to say to us. But it's so sad. Like, just call it. Just call it for what it is. This game is garbage, and they shouldn't have taken money for it. Definitely not $50, but it's just bad. It's a sham.
The best parts about the game. The problem, though, is that the overall experience of the combat is really diminished because of the jankiness, desynciness, just the overall inconsistency. Not exactly sure what the word is for it, but overall, it just...
The world is garbage. Sorry, I said the world. Well, the world is also garbage, but the word is trash. That's what you're looking for.
Feels broken still. Let me explain. When fighting mobs, the mobs are almost always teleporting, sliding, running around. They're almost always doing something, to the point where it's actually very difficult to distinguish whether or not what's happening is the mob desyncing and bugging out, or just performing a scripted action. To give an example, I've had mobs just simply disappear into a rock, then come back later and fight us. Clipping through things all the time. I've had mobs run around in a circle for some reason, then run up the stairs only to teleport back to the ground. To this day, I still don't even know if I can grapple hook a mob through a fence, because sometimes it goes through, sometimes it doesn't. I also don't know if the grapple hook is supposed to pull my target towards me or teleport my target towards me, because both happen sometimes at the same time. The fact that I still don't know this is a good representation of the janky inconsistencies. It just does not feel or look polished at all.
Absolutely.
I have noticed.
And you know what the funny part is about all of this? That most of Ashes of Creation defenders would tell you that this is okay. It's in alpha state, things should be buggy, things should be messy. And you know what? I would normally tend to agree with them. But at the same time, they've charged you $50. I'm expecting at the very least a certain amount of polish to be implemented inside of the game. At least not the clipping. You know what? One monster getting bugged here and there is fine, but when it's so constant, we have a problem.
Some of the clipping and jankiness in general, even outside of combat.
Damn, you just vanished.
Seems to be where it's most seen.
That's crazy.
I've heard this has something to do with the server gridding.
What?
But I'm not sure. If this is an easy thing to fix, then great. But as someone who's ignorant to game development, I would imagine this is not...
It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have on developing a game. You owe the developers nothing, and I'm going to continue saying it. You are paying for a product. It's like, again, I'm going to compare it to food again because it's so easy to just understand. If you're going to buy a hot dog and it tastes like garbage, You shouldn't know everything about like what factory the hot dogs were made in, like you don't need to know all of that. It doesn't matter. You pay for a product. It should be good. Like, oh, it's so difficult to like make the buns and all of that. Who cares? It's not your problem. You're paying. You are on the other end of the spectrum. You're not in the dude, it's so wild to me why people think they owe something to companies. It just drives me nuts.
Something that's that easy to fix. You know, some games you'll play, whether it's a new game or an old game, and it just feels like everything registers. It just feels really clean. It doesn't have any jank. Ashes is very, very far from that right now. And as someone who's, again, ignorant to game development, it's concerning, if I'm being honest. PvP, by the way, it's even worse. We literally couldn't even do a 60-ish, 70-ish man war because of how laggy it became. Now, maybe these two things are separate issues, but
and it's crazy because you want to turn this into a PvP-based MMO, and the PvP isn't even playable right now, which is crazy. You can't even test it properly. So, what are we doing here, really?
Regardless, this game really needs to address both to have any shot at succeeding. Now, with that said, overall, the game has for sure improved. Not only the new player experience, but even the performance that I was just being critical on has actually improved since the beginning of alpha. Before, some of that jankiness I mentioned was also very prevalent everywhere. Even
again, taking half a step forward is improving. Technically, you're correct, but at the same time, no.
Outside of combat, that jankiness has improved outside of combat and even in combat to a certain degree. So I will give them that. I would definitely give them some credit there. However,
like the nuance behind all of these guys' words is like crazy. In my opinion, from my perspective, like all of these, small adjustments they make to sound, just really, well, not criticizing, just, it's just me. This already tells us, if you can read between the lines, that they hate this game, but they just don't want to admit it. Like, you can tell. So just be transparent, bro. It just makes you look so weird and spineless. Like, it's so annoying.
It still needs...
And I love this guy, by the way. I love his videos. He's great, but it's just so frustrating to see. He's not the first one I'm seeing trying to be, like, on good terms with Steven and, like, be on his good side. But it just makes me personally mad because I love transparency. And that's the reason I will always advocate for Asmongold being, like, the best streamer out there. Because no matter how highly you think of a person or if he knows them personally, he will always say what he thinks. And that's why I want to be like him as a content creator. Because I don't want to be filtered. Like, that's pretty much it.
Work. It definitely needs a lot of work. It just needs to be better and it needs to be cleaner. That's going to pretty much wrap this one up, guys. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to actually invest all of those hours to see the end game at max level 25. I'm really conflicted.
Of course you're not, because you hate the game and you know it. Of course, why would you spend all of these hours when you can just, I don't know, play Path of Exile? Like, why would you ever do it?
On the matter, I thought about doing it, and then I thought, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do this. So why don't you guys let me know?
It's not a time issue. It's a fun issue. You know it's not fun. You're not going to do it.
Comment section below if you guys would like me to see it all the way through, hit max level, and experience some of the endgame features, because some of the stuff that is there, like their new fishing update, really does look interesting and looks pretty good. So yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next.
Okay, yeah, seems to be the end of the video. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. You guys can watch it. Give him a like and a sub if you haven't already. He's a great guy. I love his videos, truly. But this one made me mad. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I hate it when people advocate for big companies. It annoys me. And I don't care if you say, like, oh, it's not a big company. It is a big company. He has millions. And he is actively hiring full developing crew. So he is big. Not obviously Blizzard big or all that stuff. But yeah, he is pretty big. And he has all the money. And the game should have been in a way proper shape by now. But it's not. Now, why is that? I just think they're incompetent. That's pretty much my take. If you want to distill it to the very essence of it, I think they just have no idea what the fuck they're doing. That's pretty much it. And you know what? I think that is fine as well. As long as they would be willing to admit that they have not a damn clue about what they're doing. If they literally just told us, hey, we're new at this and we're trying, but we're not as good as like these other guys, that would have been great. I think most people would have looked at that and would be like, okay, that's fine. Like that's fine. If you're a bunch of beginners, sure. But even then, like Expedition 33 was made up with, I think, 80% beginner level developers. So it's really weird that this game, who literally took every single award in the, like, just a few days ago, right? In the Game Awards, was made by so many novice people. And this game, which is 10 plus years in development, didn't do anything. Like, it's just weird. Something's fishy going on there. But obviously, they're not willing to say anything. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I had to say, man. It was just a difficult video to watch, to say the least.